Was the city of Spokane burned to the ground by a prostitute named Irish Kate in 1889? No, absolutely not. But it's interesting how we got there. On the evening of August 4th, 1889, around 6:15 p.m., a fire was discovered in the lodging above Wolfe's Lunch Counter, right here on the corner of Railroad Avenue and Lincoln. Two police officers, Smith and McKenna, were summoned to the scene, and Officer Smith was quoted as saying that a few pails of water would have been enough to extinguish the blaze, but unfortunately, none were available on hand, and over 32 blocks of downtown Spokane were caught on fire and destroyed. This massive section of downtown Spokane was destroyed by the blaze, and the fire department that responded didn't have enough pressure in their hoses to extinguish much of the blaze. The only thing that really prevented it from spreading was, of course, the Spokane River. From the ashes, Spokane rose again. But over the years, a woman named Irish Kate has been blamed for this, saying that she went to her room to heat a curling iron and was assaulted by a man. And in an attempt to fight him off, she spilled over the kerosene lantern and the entire city caught ablaze. But none of that is verifiable. Kate Barrett, sometimes known as Kate Thompson, sometimes known as Irish Kate, was a woman in her early 20s who died by suicide in the Spokane area in 1892. But how does this get pinned on her? Well, it's interesting to untaffy. Irish Kate absolutely had quite a few issues that she was dealing with in her life. We know that in 1888 she attempted to commit suicide by overdosing on morphine. She was unsuccessful and then attempted to solve the problems in her life by marrying a young man named George Brooks in March of 1889. Then they were living together outside of the region where the fire began when it started in downtown Spokane. 2 years later, though, Kate files for a divorce from George and then moves into a building that was owned by Mr. O.R. Nestos. And for me, this is where things jump the tracks. That building that Kate was living in was set purposely afire by an arsonist, and a lot of people think it was due to an insurance scam. Nothing was eventually destroyed, but Kate was the only person living in the building when the article was printed. Kate's mental health continued to decline, and in May of 1892, she sent a letter with jewelry back to Mr. O.R. Nestos, declining to see him. When he arrived to check on her, she decried him in the hallway, went to her room, and drank a vial of carbolic acid. Within minutes, she was dead. Friends of Kate's were referenced in the article, and each of them said that she was not a wicked woman, but simply a very troubled one. Irish Kate was obviously a very troubled woman, and so a lot of people would have been talking about her at the time. And in 1974, Joseph Brown writes a book called The Rainbow Secrets, which references her as the cause of the fire, and thus it becomes canon. Truth is, though, that the Great Spokane Fire was most likely started by a grease fire in a kitchen, and that it's just been more fun to blame Kate over the years. Which is the real tragedy.